Hello, I am the Irish guy, and yeah, you all laugh at me and Ireland because we always lose our players to other countries. Half of them to goddamn England. And it happens all the time. But anyway, you've all spent the last week picking your England World Cup squads for Qatar, right? And yes, Gareth Southgate has a lot of mouth-watering options to choose from, but what if England were able to choose from every single eligible player? So what I'm gonna do is prepare to feel sick in your mouth, especially if your name is Jack Grealish, because if this were true, there'd be more chance of you impregnating a box of popcorn than getting into Gareth Southgate's squad. Because alright, you're about to see the potential England squad and my starting 11 for the World Cup if you were able to pick every player who could have qualified for you. Yeah. Oh, after watching this video, you'll probably feel like threatening to stab Alfred Haaland in the knee for daring to bring his son back to Norway when he was 4. Right, let's go. Aaron Ramsdale. Yeah, well right now, if you're an Everton fan, please don't threaten to spray me in the eyes with paint. I realise Jordan Pickford has never really let Gareth Southgate down. I mean, good right, stick him in an England shirt and suddenly we got Sunderland's answer to Gordon Banks. But I'm sorry, Gareth, I don't care if Jordan tucks you in at night and feeds you croissants out of a hat. You could not, in good conscience, choose a relegation battling Everton goalie who just lost 4-0 away at Crystal Palace when you've got arguably the Premier League goalkeeper of the season in your squad. I know, tell me this time last year that Ramsdale, a man who was clearly a magnet for relegations and must have had arthritis in his back from fishing the ball out of his net 4 times a match, tell me that he'd soon be overtaking Bernd Leno to be sitting pretty in the Champions League places? I would assume you'd just swallowed a golf ball dipped in glue. But Ramsdale, he's got personality. He's a top class goalie. Give him the England gloves. Jordan Pickford. Yeah, I mean, pretty simple this one. I'm hardly gonna leave Jordan Pickford at home on the couch. I know this season he's largely resembled an angry gargoyle with the reflexes of a suitcase, but let's be honest, he's still been brilliant in net for England. This might be harsh to drop to the bench, and he does seem like the type who wouldn't really accept that decision easily. I mean, Joe Hart was the type of guy who took England rejection by just looking sad all the time, just moping about on his podcast. I would imagine Pickford would respond to this by probably trying to sneak broken glass into Ramsdale's tea. But listen, bring him as number 2, job done. Etienne Green. Yeah. This is a bit of a hipster pick, right? This seems like something they would say over there at Football Daily. I mean, listen, I'd imagine that Burnley supporters watching this are choking on a chunk of steak right now and spluttering on their can of Foster's, accusing me of having the brain of a nerve-damaged ostrich. I'm sorry, who cares? Who really cares? I could bring James Blunt or Sharon Osbourne as England's number 3 goalie and it really wouldn't change much. I mean, Chris, what's the likelihood of 2 goalkeepers picking up injuries in the space of 6 weeks? Unless you've got an undercover chef in Qatar spiking their morning Cocoa Pops with rat poison, I don't think it's gonna happen. And listen, Etienne Green is a 21-year-old Saint Etienne number 1 who was born in Colchester to a French mother and an English dad. I mean, if you're bringing in a 3rd choice goalie, would you not rather bring in someone with experience of playing in another league against the whole host of other potential opposition players? I mean, this guy might be able to provide some valuable insight into Kylian Mbappe or Roman Favre. I think his spy notepad might come in handy. A bit more than just picking the Burnley goalie. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yeah, well, this is pretty obvious. Trent Alexander-Arnold is a ridiculous world-class right back. He's a man who could operate as a top-class central midfielder. Honestly, it's like having the English De Bruyne at right back. He's already a Liverpool legend, and the fact he still has less English caps than Ryan Bertrand and Danny Mills, doesn't that make your mouth fill up with sick? Stick him in the squad, and you know what? Make him the number 1 English right back. Kyle Walker. Yeah, I'm only bringing 2 right backs, which seems like a waste considering the likes of Reece James and Kieran Trippier are both world-class talents. Christ above, if this was 10 years ago, Jed Spence would be going to the World Cup. But let's just wait until you see the attacking options I have coming up. Maybe then you'll realise why I have to leave right back superstars at home on the couch. Listen, Kyle Walker could be about to win his 4th Premier League title in 5 seasons. To not pick this man in the squad, it will be seen as sheer and utter lunacy. I know Reece James is a Champions League winner and is a complete modern day right back, but this guy has missed 24 games of football for Chelsea this season, whether through injury or suspension. And that's not good enough. I'm sorry, but you can't sit out nearly 30 games of football in the season leading up to a World Cup and still expect to go. Yes, he's brilliant, but Walker is experienced, winning machine with nearly 70 caps, who can also play centre back in the back 3, so there's no way you're leaving him out. Connor Cody. If I was Gareth Southgate, I would be making Connor Cody my starting centre back. And you know what? England vice captain. I mean, he won't be. There'd be more chance of Southgate sharing a bath with Susan Boyle than agreeing to drop Harry Maguire. But to me, Cody is having the season of his life. I mean, let's not forget, last season, during Liverpool's centre-back crisis, he was linked with a mid-season switch to his hometown club. Good Christ, Jimmy Carragher even asked him the question on live TV. That could have realistically fried his brain like a pancake. And especially considering Nuno Santo went on to leave the club, he could have been a distracted mess, playing for his Liverpool move. Instead, he's been part of 13 clean sheets for Wolves this season. He's looked like an utter rock. And yes, he can play in the back too. This man has had the best season of any English centre back on the planet. So yeah, you have to bring him and you have to play him. Fikayo Tomori. Okay then, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to make the ruthless call if nobody else will. Now, normally, dropping the Manchester United captain from any international squad, oh, it's sacrilege, right? It'll be a goddamn media circus. You know, just ask Roy Keane in Saipan. But I'm sorry, the England squad should be picked on merit. And Maguire, for 2 years now, has looked like a waddling Donald Duck who has continued to embarrass the fans of Manchester United. I realise he was a good defender at Leicester, but at Old Trafford, he's got no self-confidence. But it's alright. Just replace him in the squad with Fikayo Tomori. You know, a 24-year-old who's inching towards the Serie A title with AC Milan. You know, following in the footsteps of Paolo Maldini, Alessandro Nesta and Thiago Silva. He's one of only 2 English centre-backs on the planet who can realistically win a league title this season. He has played in 19 AC Milan wins this season. He has helped them keep 12 clean sheets. Don't you dare pick Mark Gehi above him. Get him! Get him in the damn squad! Ben White. Okay, we all remember when Ben White was bullied and smacked about like a piñata on the opening day of the season. I mean, him trying to challenge Ivan Toney for the ball. I was like watching Peter Dinklage try to move a fridge. Oh, it's just sad to watch. But lads, Ben White has impressed every season of his career. For Leeds, for Brighton, and now for Arsenal. Yes, I know he looks like a cheeky Nando's lad who probably sends a photo of his knob to every one of his mate's sisters. Honestly, there's just something about Benjamin White which just screams slime. But lads, he's been part of 19 Arsenal wins. There's been 15 clean sheets. If he doesn't make it onto the plane to Qatar, it's an absolute disgrace. John Stones. Okay, again, this is pretty obvious. John Stones is this generation's answer to Rio Ferdinand. I mean, no, he is nowhere near as good. Of course not, but come on. He's a Rolls-Royce ball-playing defender who wins the league nearly every year in Manchester. Sure, he's got a mistake in him, but that's what happens with a ball-playing centre-half. Am I the only one who remembers Rio Ferdinand's utter horror shows against Blackburn Rovers in 2006? Stones is an experienced, mostly reliable centre-back. Yeah, he might be pushed all the way by Ben White and will have a battle on his hands, but yeah, I would stick him in the starting lineup with Cody. Then Chilwell. Yeah, I'm only bringing one left back, which is all sorts of lunacy, right? Especially relying on Ben Chilwell, who's surely got limbs made of Mikado biscuits, right? But I'm sorry, I know Luke Shaw has done well for England, but again, for Manchester United, mostly look like a disorganised pregnant sheep. Chilwell is a £50 million left back with a Champions League medal in his pocket. I mean, this fella is a club world champion. Of course he's your starting left back. Jude Bellingham. Yeah, when in Birmingham, I thought this guy was a bit overrated. I mean, Christ, but retiring the shirt number of a child? What? I thought we were looking at the next John Bostock. No, he's one of the most mature 18-year-old footballers I've ever seen. A regular for Borussia Dortmund. Incredible player. Jamal Musiala. Can you imagine if England had persuaded Jamal Musiala to declare for you? This is a 19-year-old Bayern Munich wonderkid, midfielder who, yeah, was born in Germany, but he spent his childhood in England. He went to primary school in London, was in the Southampton Academy, and then Chelsea's one for 8 years. He'll have been mates with Declan Rice and Mason Mount, but after playing underage level for England, he has since declared for Germany. Yeah! How do you like it? And that he is class. A versatile attacking midfielder who's played over 30 games for Bayern Munich this season. 6 goals, 6 assists, ripping up the Champions League, which is more than I can say for Jack Grealish. If he hadn't said no to England, I guarantee you, this guy would have one of the biggest media hypes on the planet. Declan Rice. Just get him on the damn plane. Mason Mount. I mean, what more do you want me to say? Yeah, when he was at Derby County, I stupidly thought that this fella was just championship English hype. But, I mean, can you blame me? Chelsea's track record of producing kids is pretty horrible. You can't blame me if I thought this guy was going to be the next Lewis Baker. You know, currently rotting away at Stoke. But no, Mount is the real deal, and honestly, he's going to be one hell of an option off the bench. Honestly, this guy is what Dele Alli should have become if he'd, you know, listened to Jose Mourinho. Phil Foden. This guy is the real deal. And lads, first name on the team sheet. I don't care. I know he had a bit of an underwhelming Euro 2020, but don't let that fool you. He is the English Iniesta. One of the rare few examples of player who deserved the hype. I mean, do you know how hard it is for a homegrown Manchester City footballer to break out from the academy and into the first team when this club can just buy anybody they want? It's nigh on impossible. First of all, this fella could have quit the club age 16 before moving to Tottenham for regular games, right? Instead, he buckled down and replaced David Silva. What? He is an amazing footballer, and without a shadow of a doubt, England need to build a team around him. He is an absolute gem. Gareth Bale. Can you imagine if Gareth Bale had declared for England in 2006? For the last 10 years, this guy would have been seen as the English Ronaldo. Our Real Madrid Galactico. Brand Bale knighted by the Queen. He'd be on every billboard in the country. Every advert on TV. Just like Michael Owen, he'd have his own goddamn cereal. And I'm convinced, if he was English and not Welsh, he would have wound up having a podium spot in the final 3 of the Ballon d'Or. Probably in 2014. Lads, he would have over 100 England caps and probably have about 40 goals. Even now, at 32, no, he wouldn't be a starter, but he would be to this squad what David Beckham was to it in 2006. An experienced old head, a leader. I mean, can you imagine England being able to bring Gareth Bale off the bench in Qatar? Mouth-watering for you. Oh yeah, and he can also fill in as a makeshift left back. So that solves that problem. But having a world-class utility man like Gareth Bale sure beats Eric Dyer. Jadon Sancho. You know what? I am tempted. I am very tempted to pick Borussia Dortmund's Giovanni Reina, whose stock is going to be sky high by Christmas. He's an exciting 19-year-old wonder kid who is the next Christian Pulisic for the USA, and yeah, was born in the grubby streets of Sunderland. Just like Erling Haaland, his dad was also some pretty bang-average midfielder for Man City when they were poor. I am tempted to stick this guy in the England squad. Christ, look, he's Jadon Sancho's replacement at Borussia Dortmund. And honestly, he's going to be one hell of a football player. But instead, he just misses out to Jadon Sancho. Yeah, he's had a hit and miss season at Man United, but are we all just going to forget that he tore the Bundesliga to shreds with his teeth? To me, this guy has the same potential as Phil Foden. Get him on the plane. Bukayo Saka. Yeah, top class winger who's having the season of his life. Honestly, shove this Arsenal forward into the PFA Team of the Year because he's bounced back from the worst moment of his life. Last summer, he was on the verge of becoming the modern day Darius Vassell, forced to talk about a missed penalty on chat shows 10 years later, and yet instead, 10 goals, 5 assists. What an impact player he would be off the bench. Raheem Sterling, nothing more needs to be said. Obviously he's getting in the squad. Wilfried Zaha. Wilfried Zaha is special. Nobody seems to care that England ignored him so much to the point where he pulled a strop and declared for Ivory Coast. But you should. Forget the fact he's wasted his potential and peak years at Crystal Palace. His ceiling is so much higher than that, and you're damn right would have ripped it up in a Champions League club. You need to pick players on form. And I'm sorry, this guy's having a much better season than Jack Grealish or Marcus Rashford. This guy's got the footwork, he's got the skills, the trickery, and most of all, the confidence. The fact is, he's having the best season of his life, and to me, this guy would be one hell of a nightmare option for tired defenders off the bench. Bring him on an extra time of a knockout match, and honestly, he would cause fullbacks to bleed from the nose. Tammy Abraham. Jose Mourinho has molded a monster. England have a centre forward who scored 23 goals in Italy by March. He's got 15 Serie A goals for Roma, playing under one of the most genius football coaches of all time. I don't care what the competition is. If you omit him from this World Cup squad, someone tearing Serie A apart with his teeth, then it's official, you have the brains of a wet omelette. Harry Kane. Well, obviously, Erling Haaland. Yeah. You should all blame Man City for this one. Good old Alf Inch Haaland, a guy who spent 10 years of his 13-year career in the Premier League, which is why Erling was born in Leeds. If Man City had not released Alf in 2003, he wouldn't have relocated his family back to Norway. I don't care if his knee looked like a baked potato. You should have offered this guy a deal until he was 39 and then stick him on the coaching staff. If you had done that, then Erling Haaland would be playing for England right now. I have no earthly doubt about that. And can you imagine how much he'd cost? Upwards of 250 mil? You would have Harry Kane's ready-made replacement, a world superstar, and he would be English. Can you imagine that? A strike partnership of Kane and Haaland? I'm sorry, what? You're probably wondering how this team would be set up. Right. 4-2-3-1, starting off with Ramsdale in goal, then a back four of Trent, Cody, Stones and Chilwell, a defensive midfield two of Rice and Bellingham, and then you've got a front four of Sancho, Kane, Foden and Haaland. Can you imagine the chemistry? Yeah, no, sticking England's soon-to-be record goal scorer in a number 10 central attacking midfield role, trying to turn him into the next Coutinho? Sounds a bit like lunacy, right? But lads, we've seen Kane drop deep for Tottenham, often just laying on chances for Son. So this front four, the chemistry would be off the charts. We'll have Sancho and Haaland link up together after ripping Germany apart. Foden and Sancho came through the Man City Academy together. Foden and Haaland are clearly friends. And I just have a feeling that Harry Kane will be a world-class number 10. And then in the second half, you could replace Foden with the pace of Raheem Sterling or Wilfried Zaha. Maybe swap out Sancho for the energy of either Mason Mount or Jamal Musiala. And then with 10 minutes to go to see out a tough knockout match, just bring on the leadership of Gareth Bale, replacing Kane in his favoured central attacking midfield role behind the striker. Honestly, this squad would be monstrous. And yeah, I hate to say it, the best squad in world football. Even when it comes to the dreaded penalty shootout, have a look at this. Kane, Haaland, Bale, Trent and Zaha. They're scoring every one of those. But looking at the squad that could have been, have I done it? Have I ruined your day? Good.
Thanks for taking Declan Rice.
Anyway, that's it. What do you think? Alright, let me know in the comment section below. Enjoy the video. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.